Warning, the following video is very ranty and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, this is Isaiah and welcome back to Magic System Monday. Today, I was actually going through YouTube. I was watching YouTube videos and I actually saw this little extended preview for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness by, was it Voodoo? Props to Voodoo. They probably got clearance to post this, otherwise they get copy claimed or something. I'm not sure if I'm going to get copy claimed by even taking a look at this on recording, but... So, Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness is not a movie that I've watched yet. I've watched parts of the first movie. I am not the biggest fan of it, personally, but there's some pretty neat stuff in that first movie. So I figured I could look at this extended clip and get a good grasp on how the magic is gonna look in this world. I know it's a soft magic system, as it tends to be with a lot of the wizard or sorcerer-esque magic systems. They tend to have very broad sets of abilities. While normal superheroes might have a couple of powers, I can do this, I can do that. People with spellcasting usually just have, that, but however many spells they have. And it tends to be a lot, especially in systems where you don't know all the spells. Much like this one. So at these, there's nothing wrong with that. Soft magic is perfectly fine. But there's a tremendous risk here. And that is having the magic not make sense. Or having them do things in one scene and not do them in another when they could have. And I was wondering if that was going to be the case here. I was hoping not. First, like I said, first movie, parts of it were pretty nice. I also watched the What If episode for Doctor Strange. And that was pretty neat too. But, so I was taking a look at it.
To enjoy a free...
I like his voice. And at first I was actually going to go through it with you guys and as like some kind of reaction or something. I'm not sure if reactions are the right thing for me. Sometimes I take too long to think of the word I'm trying to say. But, fun fact, I had it, tried to record it the first time, and I think I spent like 15 minutes here. Turns out the stream deck didn't work properly. So when I hit the record button, nothing happened. So, yeah. Yeah, that's the first time that's happened to me. Quite annoying if I do say so myself. Sorry about that. Mic stand is kind of big. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the results. The results for me were not so good. Some of the spectacle and the visuals were perfectly fine. Then we get little interesting things like some random stuff I noticed. Was Doctor Strange, notice here, he does that thing with his palm, with his hands. He puts his hands together. It probably doesn't mean anything at all. It's just, I was just wondering when I first watched the video what that was for. I still don't know. Let me know in the comments if you ever figure it out. But, what were the words? And the immediate next thing I noticed here was catch this runaway car. He was trying to catch this runaway car, and he did this little, like Cerberus monster creature head. And I was like, oh, interesting. That's pretty neat. But I stopped and thought about it. And I was like, why did he do that? That sounds like a really random nitpick, but I am almost 100% certain. Well, I know it for sure, actually, but like I said, I'm just going to judge this movie just off of this 7-minute clip. I'm not going to go about any movie before or after or whatever. Just this 7 minutes. That's all I'm judging this off of. I knew this was kind of strange because I knew wizard-type characters almost always have some kind of telekinesis or ability to move things around without touching them. And maybe that's hard to do on short notice or something, which is what I figured. But I can't make those assumptions for you. That's the risk you take as a writer That's the risk you take as a writer when you don't give the readers or the viewers that information. They cannot make the story up for you. It's your responsibility. Whatever you portray, it has to be consistent and logical. And these all seem like tiny nitpicks, I assure you. Some of them seem like tiny nitpicks. But if someone can't get something like this small properly, I don't necessarily trust them with other things too. This guy undoubtedly has telekinesis, is what I thought. And I was right. Watch this. kind of cool reveal spell or something. I'm not sure what that is, but you know, that's spectacle. I don't really care about that. Take a look at this. That was some kind of sign or something. Yep, that was either a sign or like a piece of the bus or whatever. And he manages to gut this thing pretty efficiently with it. This thing that is in the middle of a street attacking a bus trying to chase this lady he doesn't know and risking countless lives in the process. You see what I'm saying? In a minute, there's going to be a guy on a motorcycle that comes through, and this thing is just going to grab him immediately. Fun fact, I really like fight scenes. I take them very, very seriously. Because those are also very important when it comes to magic system. You know, not even just with magic system, just in general. Fight scenes are very important. I like how he actually responds to it and freaks out as opposed to just keeping it moving. But pretty nice. He throws it. He's pretty strong. Now, I'm going to let you see that one more time before I say anything. Mind you, I have nothing against Doctor Strange in particular. I just take my magic systems, I take my fight consistency very, very seriously. Buzzsaw. At first I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. And then I saw he went for the anime swordsman cut the giant object in half thing. Just look at it. I'm going to put this at half speed so you can look at it. You can see the cut right there, right? And it's spread out. And when you look at him right there, it's almost as if at the angle it's going at, it splits open or whatever. Sure, okay. Looking at this angle, it looks like from this angle, it looks like it couldn't have even made contact with that thing, with the way those two pieces are going. But moreover, this thing is, as far as I know, seems extremely flat, aggressively flat, which is cool, and that's really awesome. He can make something so thin to cut things with, but he does this. You can't, even if, look, I'm not a physicist, but even if, you think you cutting something or severing it makes it spread out like that, because I'm pretty sure there is some kind of spread. Do you really think something this thin, look how thin it is compared to his body. Do you think that when these two other pieces keep moving, keep going, they're going to... Do you really think they're going to just miss him like that by such a wide margin? Like, really? Come on now. At the angle it's going, not only is it moving forward, but it's dropping. Those two would have gotten hit. Man, they would have... Look at all those sparks, too. They would have had so many ouches and boo-boos if they lived. Then again, Doctor Strange turns around and gets hit with this, with a tentacle in a moment, so he's pretty durable anyway. I don't know about this chick. I don't know who she is. As awesome as it is, it doesn't make a lick of sense. Moreover, he could have used that same blade, or something similar, and cut this creature with it. This creature could be dead right now.
Do I know you?
Not the time, my friend. Oh yeah, this is the scene. Okay, so as we say in the hood, Doctor Strange just got milli-rocked. Alright? He just got molly-whopped or something. He did get kind of knocked out though, which is kind of funny, but that's not really a problem on the magic system's part. I don't even know if you could argue that this is a writing issue. Man, that was stupid. He shouldn't have done that. Let me put it like this. He's too smart. And I know someone's going to go, but Isaiah in the comic books, ... Or they're going to go, well, Isaiah, it's consistent with his character, or he's surprised and, he was dazed for a moment. But, Moreover, there's another scene where they're going to be talking, where they could have just killed this creature pretty quickly. And people tend to say that talking is a free action. Well, this scene disproves that. You know what I'm saying? He's in a whole conversation scene, and he gets yeeted like this. So I don't want any more instances in this movie where people are talking while they're fighting and nothing happens to them. All right? I don't want it. I don't want to see that. Everyone I know told me this movie was good, alright? Everyone I know who saw this movie told me it was good. What I'm seeing now, the fight scenes are not looking very lit, except the spectacle, which, given that this is a multiverse story, is probably going to be a lot more extreme later down the line. So I'm not going to judge the spectacle just by this 7-minute clip. I like that though. Look at that thing's nostrils. Look at that thing's nostrils. It's so weird. But yeah. Grabs her. Does it just like let go, or is it like let go of free will, or was it burned, or what? But anyway, you know, Wong comes in like a savage. Pretty good, pretty good. What is that? I don't know what that is. Oh, is that like the end of his whip or what? Oh, okay. That's unfortunate. Pulls out a sword. Pretty neat, pretty neat. He gets grabbed. Like Strange wake when his cloak wakes up. Now watch this. It picks her up to save her. And it narrowly manages to miss her, which is absolutely fine. No problem with that. Out of reach. Look what it does to this motorcycle guy, this poor innocent bystander, and yeets his bike. And look with the level of precision. You might say, Isaiah, well, technically it missed. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. I'm not sure if this creature's trying to apprehend her or trying to eat her or whatever, but I do know that level of precision was insane right there, right? But there are going to be countless other scenes in this movie, not in this movie, sorry, in this clip, like we've seen before, and like we're going to see in a minute. He can do that. You see the level of skill he just hit that cloak with? And there are going to be portions in this clip, just this 1 7-minute clip, where he's going to have people perfectly within his reach, all right? And he cannot take the shot. Sometimes they're barely even moving around, and he just cannot hit. Like his aimbot is glitchy or something. Ow. I wonder how strong that cloak is. It did hold down, was it Thanos' arm? His hand very briefly. He did get torn though. I wonder how they recovered that. That's just a tangent, it's not a big deal, I'm just curious. I imagine the thing's relatively strong if it could hold Thanos' hand for at least a brief moment. I don't think it would be held down very long by a motorcycle, even if it actually went down at first. So let's see how long it takes him to get back up. Was it hatchet axe? Okay, so he cuts it again. We know this thing is well within his grasp in terms of attack power. This squishy creature is not durable enough to withstand most of his attacks, alright? Why Wong has magic too, right? Why is he not going in with whips? With the whips. Especially since we know you can cut people with your portals. My goal would have been to just grab him with one of those portals and close it in on him. I know that sounds cheese, and I know people don't like, to spam that type of thing in fights. I know they want to mix up the spectacles that they use in these fights, but you have to have a good justification for that. They could have taken any one of the actual moves that they've used in this fight so far that actually affected him, and just spammed that 2 or 3 times, and that would have been it. There was no situation that justified doing something else. That sign or whatever it was, or piece of that bus, Doctor Strange could have just cut him with that again, and then cut him with it again.
You're welcome.
And that's another important thing when it comes to fights. You see this in video games, you see this in other movies, you see this in stories where superheroes and people with powers, they only have a limited amount of abilities, but all of their abilities are different. And it's not that they have to be different, it's that each thing brings something specifically different to the table. If you ever play Pokemon, you have 4 Pokemon moves on one Pokemon, alright? That's because you're meant to put each of those move slots. Sorry, I'm talking into the mic. To put each of those you have to fill each of those move slots with something will be effective or productive for your battle. You see what I'm saying? So each of those moves are going to be different. You don't see people putting the exact same move in their slot for if that's even possible. If it was, people wouldn't do it. You need to diversify your move sets. And with wizards having such diverse move sets, with sorcerers having these move sets that are so diverse, you want to make sure that the moves that they use are warranted. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to them just being for spectacle.
Essentially accustomed to bow in the presence.
Do it like how in, for example, like in D&D, those spells are not meant to have very much redundance. You will use a different spell in different situations. This is that talking is a free action thing I was talking about.
Welcome.
There's a tentacle right there, my friend. You guys could where's that axe you just summoned, alright? You could sling ring that thing, because they can move portals, alright? Ah, dang it. I know I said I wasn't gonna judge them based off of any other movie, but just this clip. But I'm gonna have to break that rule right now. We've seen before. I think in Thor Ragnarok, there was this one scene where Doctor Strange was either messing with Thor or Loki, and he had the portal open. He was trying to push them through, and he actually moved the portal, and the portal moved to encompass them. Or I can't remember which one he was closing that portal on. We know he can close portals, alright? And we also know from Infinity War that you can cut things with these portals, alright? This is a free hit right here. That tentacle is just right there. In fact, the whole monster is right there. They could literally do anything. Where is that piece of that bus, alright? Where's your cloak? Where's your axe? Wong was whipping this thing and fighting with a sword a moment ago. This is the perfect opportunity. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tentacles that are directly within, very close reach of them right now. If they hit it with a projectile attack, he would be toast. Hit him with one axe. Can I get one axe in the proper spot to kill this guy? Or at least gut him like a fish and cut his tentacles off. I'm not bloodthirsty. It's just that the idea of why these things aren't being done has to be clear for the characters. Like, for example, in some movies, video games, TV shows, anime, abilities are on cooldown. For example, I watched Log Horizon recently. It's an anime. It's based off an RPG or whatever, but there are cooldowns there. So if I don't use my special power or spell again, we know it's because of the cooldown. There are certain types of weapons that overheat. See, if this was like some kind of like Call of Duty like super soldier thing, and if this was Master Chief using a Spartan laser or something, and he didn't shoot the thing with his laser, we could have had the excuse that the laser had overheated or something. You see what I'm saying? Or maybe each of the spells has some kind of different energy recharge or something. I don't know. But whatever the reason is that they're not doing anything right now. But Isaiah, they are doing something. They're talking. Yeah. Talking is not a free action. That thing is clearly running away. But he's doing it really slowly. I'm sorry, he's not running away. He's getting that woman. And they hit it with the least effective tactic. Alright? Doctor Strange can fly. Wait, is his cloak? I'm not sure where his cloak is here. But, you get what I'm saying. Even if he couldn't fly, he could just hit it with a projectile and that would be it. Instead of hitting it with a projectile to stop it in its tracks, doing that mirror world thing and catching it in the mirror world, which by the way would have been an instant win, because in the mirror world, he's without that creature doesn't have a sling ring. The creature would have just lost. He could have just banished it to the Shadow Realms and that would have been it. And, goodness, I'm sorry. I don't like venting and frustrating like that. Like, I don't like fussing and whining over the microphone like this. I've had a couple of episodes that I've posted that were kind of like that, and I hadn't really just gotten around to publishing them simply for that reason. I really don't like to do that. But under the circumstance, like, I would love to just, decree from the mountaintops praise of how wonderful something is. I want these movies I watch to be good, these stories to be good. I like magic. I like wizards. But it's things like this, when things like this happen, that give these types of stories and writers a bad name. Because this is a really basic thing they could have done and didn't. maybe the person who's writing the fights is different from the person who's writing the story. I think what they could have done in these movies is they could have did what they could have pulled a Pokemon. What do you mean, Isaiah? Like I said, in Pokemon you have 4 slots. I'm not saying you need 4 slots, but what they could have done, even though Doctor Strange is Sorcerer Supreme and probably has a multitude of spells, they could have limited the amount of spells he was going to use. Let's say, for example, he had only 15 spells or abilities. Not that he only has them, but when it comes to the combat or the scenes he's in that actually matter, maybe he only used those 10 or 15, alright? So we got this fight. I'm not sure this is like the first fight or anything, but the first few fights could have been used to showcase those abilities and their limitations. Even if he ultimately won the fight, and even if the fight was not difficult for him, we could have used it as a scene, long as well, to see what they're capable of and what those powers are like, how they tick. You don't have to explain these types of things. We just need to see them. If there's limitations, get around them, or that can be gotten around, we can see that in the fight. If there's a certain range, they don't work at a certain range, we can see that in the fight. You see what I'm saying? In that way, it would feel more grounded, even if we don't know all of what he's capable of. It's this type of thing, like if you did something like that, you could convince people, create the illusion that this very, very soft magic system was actually a little bit more hard, because it would feel more hard to you, because you'd have more of a stake in it. It's more tangible to you. And that way, using it to resolve things in the story is meaningful. And I know this because I got this from the first movie. Alright. One of the most consistent parts of that movie was the sling ring. And when people talked about how people did the cool things with the magic, and some people had arguments about how the magic is inconsistent and doesn't make sense, and yada yada yada, and people would always go, but the sling ring was narratively satisfying. It's satisfying because it's consistent, and once you use a power in a consistent way to solve problems, that is very satisfying to the viewers. You could have done that on a significantly larger scale with more powers, because he's going to be using magic anyway, right? And if you didn't want him to be too limited, just give him some powers that are flexible and can be used in flexible situations. Like the sling ring. They already do this. It's like they know this information, but they're not driving it home. Is it because they're lazy, or they crunch for time, or what?
Yeah, I'm aware of the customs.
And they do the least effective thing ever. If they hit it with a fireball or something, or like another axe, he'd be dead. I know I keep saying that, I'm sorry, but... And take a look at this. Alright, what was all that ninja stuff from earlier? This man, with the utmost precision, hit through a motorcycle at the cloak like he had the Sharingan or something. Now he can't... I wouldn't call this point blank range, but it's pretty close. He could have hit this, alright? And even if he missed, she is literally right there. He could hit her again. And he misses again, alright? Alright. Maybe this thing isn't that smart, I know that. Now, I'm not going to hold this part against him. I'm just going to say, if on short notice I had to plan, like if I was the tentacle monster, and I had enough time to think about it, seeing that I broke this thing, I would have broke this side too, so she couldn't escape, and then I would have hit her. But again, maybe the monster is not that intelligent. I don't hold that against the monster, but that doesn't change the fact that he has too many opportunities to kill this chick and hasn't done it yet. First of all, I'd like to say that this effect is extremely cool. Green fire has always been lit. Alright? It's always been great. Alright? Green fire is cool. It's so what's the word? It's so mystical. Like, different colored fires are always really awesome. But this thing travels up the... Notice, see, this is one of those types of situations I was talking about when I was saying, make the powers consistent. Him using this type of power would be great. Notice how it has to make contact with whatever it's like traveling up. So maybe it's a contact move, even though it has a high spread. That's a really useful thing. So if he kept using that type of power over and over again through the story in different situations, mixed up with his other powers, Using that could be very, very narratively satisfying. This is a really cool spell, but you see how easy it is for him? Even though it doesn't burn up the rest of his body, it travels up the chain, hits him on the side, travels up to the one tentacle that's attacking this girl, and then destroys it. What about the rest of the body? Would you like to use that spell again? Remember a few seconds ago, and you guys were right here, he could have just slapped that thing's tentacle right there, and it would have been devastating. That thing would have been dead. He could have slapped the other 4 while he was at it. And here's another thing. If you wanted the monster to last this long, you have to justify it. I'm not upset that the fight takes this long. I'm upset that the fight takes this long without justification. Because it's in these situations, and I do not consider myself to be the best writer, but in these situations, if I want the character to last a long time, I will make the enemy a character that I know either has the strength, skill, or wit to last this long. If that creature was powerful enough, it would have made sense. If it was smart enough to evade, if it was a clever creature, it was playing smart, you see what I'm saying? Or if it had good reflexes or something, things like that could have saved the day and made a little bit more sense, you see what I'm saying? I would have just... And this is why I have so many intelligent characters. I think I mentioned that in an episode before, but I do that just so that when I finally throw a powerful main character in front of you, because, well, I have a lot of weak main characters that are mainly strategy-based or whatever, but once you have some serious competition in terms of the main character, I don't want to just drag, the story out with weak villains. You want to make sure the villains are capable enough to do something against these people. This thing should have been stomped.
That's incredible.
That's what I'm talking about right there. We see that Sharingan in action yet again. He slaps him, right? He hits him with a 2-piece. The slap was perfectly fine because the chain was hanging around. But then he proceeds, right in rapid succession, to grab Doctor Strange. He was closer than that cloak was, so it might have been a little bit easier. But he grabs him out of midair. All right, midair. Hey, that fireball spell, that little green fire spell. Oh, that would be perfect right now, wouldn't it? And he probably could have sling ring dropped or something like that. Oh wait, speaking of which, watch this. Now this is great. Now you see how even though Wong came in clutch like twice in this fight, notice how Wong is more limited in his I'm not sure if it's his power or skill. He's very useful, but the story is in the fight is portraying him as being a character with limits, in a way that makes a lot of sense for me. This sling ring scene right here was very good. You see, even though he's skilled and he has a lot of power and he has a sling ring, you notice how he didn't put himself in a position where he didn't just negate all the damage from the fall. He rolls and hit a car, and that really must have hurt. And I know it really must have hurt, but dang, what were my words there? Sorry. You get what I'm saying. I just like that they did that. He came in clutch without completely solving the problem. So we have a skilled character with limits. That's good. And you don't have to hurt him by having him be stupid. You see what I'm saying? Like Doctor Strange just standing there and getting melee rocked by a tentacle. Yeah, he should have known to cut that thing down before he stopped to talk. But this makes sense. Let's see if he uses that fire spell again. No. Oh, my hands are bound. I can't do anything. Even though the flame comes out of my hand. Someone might say, Isaiah, he has to do the hand signals or something. I prove it, alright? Sometimes he just waves his hand around and a thing happens. He barely has to do anything, from my knowledge. And if he did, maybe the story should put more emphasis on proving that to me so I wouldn't be so grouchy about it. But who am I kidding? Not every viewer you get is as grouchy as me. But the problem is, fight scenes that are done very well age very, very well. You can watch a fight scene in an old school movie from 60 years ago with no color, and people will still love it. People that had never seen that movie will look at it and go, wow, that was really awesome. That was really unique. It was very grounded. It made sense. People will love them for years to come. 100 years from now, there will be fights in stories like Naruto or Iron Man where people will be looking back on them and how they were done, and they will say, that's damn good. You see what I'm saying? And that's I'm not going to say it's easy to do, but sometimes it's way easier than it seems. At least some facets of them are way easier than they seem. You have to put the time and effort into stopping and thinking about it and making the characters do things that make sense. I can tell that this was not the case here. There have been times where 2 minutes of story, like in terms of a fight scene, have taken me months. Months, alright? Months. I am not joking. But I don't have a budget of $200 million, okay? Okay? They got people. There are probably people who could do my job and run circles around me in terms of writing and magic systems for $200 million. Are you curious? You see what I mean? I don't have a budget at all. By the way, if you want to change that, you can support me on Patreon, or you can support me on Cash App. Either is fine. Bad plug, I know. You don't have to. This is, of course, a free service. I have no issue with that. If I went the next year with no patrons and no donations, that'd be perfectly fine with me. That's not owed to me. At the same time, these people put in this amount of money, you expect to get a return. They gave us a product or a service that, quite frankly, based on this 7 minutes, is not looking so good. But they expect money in return for that. You see what I'm saying? I wouldn't pay for this movie. Likewise, if you don't like my content, or if you disagree with my content, that is all fair. I wouldn't expect you to pay for that either. Star shape, pretty nice. So she has powers or something. Hey, she has the... Look, I know there's a person named America in this story, but I don't know who it is. Given the fact that she just made a star with her power, that shape, and I just noticed her jacket has the stars and stripes, I'm gonna make the assumption that this is that America person. You've gone and done it now, girl. Oh, wait a minute. It's just now getting up? Wait a minute. How long ago did that thing... Alright, right here. That's 1 minute. That's over a minute it's been there. That thing has been down and out for a minute. Do cloaks go unconscious? Actually, honestly, if it was this one, if this type of cloak went unconscious, I think I could let that go. I think that makes enough sense, even because, it's conscious. I'm not saying objects have to be able to go to sleep or anything, but that is something I'm personally willing to accept. I'm not saying this just to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm just saying it because I believe that. But I can't write the story for them. I have no proof. It comes in clutch. Remember, this thing was strong enough to hold Thanos' grasp for a moment. Here we go again. He does monster hands. I have no problem with monster hands. The effect is just fine, but... Why didn't he just use the telekinesis, huh? That eye has been open. Look, this is one of those things. Sometimes when people get hit in the eyes in some of these fights, I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I stop and go, wait a minute. That eye has been wide open the entire fight. Why is someone hitting it at the end? That eye has been open the entire fight. I'm sorry, I repeat myself so much. Let me just stop talking. Is this the end of the fight? I'll give you this, though. This sound is very satisfying. Not this one. That sort of a sound is very, very satisfying. Sling ring.
Who's this?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same question. Hey, kid.
Notice he already has the sling ring
Who's this?
when you see
I was
her
gonna
hand.
ask the same question.
I wonder where she grabbed it from. So she did just steal Doctor Strange's sling ring. I just don't know where she got it from. Because it can't be before this moment, could it? Would the portal have stayed open if he wasn't maintaining it? So he has to have it on at this exact, up to this exact moment.
Who's this?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same question.
I have no problem, no qualms with it at all. I was just wondering, because sometimes when the choreography will make it so you can see the moment that the thing got stolen, but notice it's on her opposite hand, and this isn't making contact. So I just don't know how she did it. She might be some kind of magician or something. That's not a criticism. It's just I was just curious.
Question. Hey, kid. What did that creature want with you?
She
Where are
does
your
have it
parents?
though.
Take her back to the sank. I just bust my ass trying to I can clearly handle, but what experience of the
All right, there's no more fighting in this. Well, ending thoughts, Isaiah. You got something to say? Do I have something to say? How long has this thing been running? I can tell. Oh God, I've been on for 30 minutes. That's terrible. Well, I got to wrap this up very quickly. I don't really have much else to talk about. When it comes to the power logic and consistencies here, I'm gonna give it at most I could give it a 5, but that seems kind of high given the circumstances. There were so many times where the characters could have just done something to just win, like they could have just won. So many options. Even if we judge only by exactly what we see them doing in this movie alone, there are so many occasions where that monster should have just been gutted like a fish. But they didn't do that, and that is always a problem. I need some justifications here. I'm pretty sure that, people might disagree with me on that. I know people are very, very lenient on these types of things. I know people often, when I bring these types of things up, they'll go, well, maybe, ... And they'll say, well, we can't do that. That's headcanon. I can't come up with reasons for the writer, all right? I cannot guess what these reasons are. I don't know them. That is not my job. The writer is feeding me with a spoon. They're feeding me the plot. They're feeding me the story. It is their responsibility. And this is a responsibility they are not upholding here. I reluctantly give it a 4. Out of 10, 1 out of 10, the logic is a 4. All right? And spectacle, on the other hand, spectacle is a little bit better. This is probably near the beginning of the movie, so I don't think this is all the movie has to offer. I know the movie probably has like a lot of bright colors in it, which people tend to like. I always like the little magic circles Doctor Strange has. They're always pretty neat. Their colors and design and everything is always top notch. He does still have the Eye of Agamotto. I wonder if it does anything now. But spectacle, I can give it a lenient 7 out of 10. I can give it that because I know it'll get better throughout the movie, and I can't just judge that now. This spectacle-wise, it served its purpose. I just wish it was a bit more logically consistent, because that would have been better, and it would have aged so well, and it would have been one of those things where 20, 30 years from now, it would have had 80 million views as a clip or something on YouTube, on Watch Mojo or something. This is pretty decent too. I heard that the box office was pretty good for it, so maybe they just don't care, which is the problem. I feel like people don't realize how much they have to gain by being better in certain ways. It's like they think the marginal gain is too low. And in this case, I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. If they could have had the same budget and just put in a little bit more work, or took a little bit more time, or just brought in the right person to stop and think about what they were showing. It might have been easier for them that way, because they wouldn't have had to come up with so many different types of spectacle and powers. But anyway, it's been too long. Spectacle wise, I give it a 7. Logic, 4. This is Isaiah from Magic System Monday. I'm already tired of hearing myself talk. I'll see you guys later.